This story is another creepy mystery with elements of the Blair Witch Project, footage found on their media, that will disturb you when you find out what happened. And I'm interested to know what you think around the middle of this particular story that will have you guessing as it did with me. Oh, and stick around for the ending, as you will be deeply shocked and upset, as there are just no words. Sometimes there really isn't. It will make you ponder many things, and it is very unsettling. So what I would say is buckle in, as there is no easy way to tell this particular ordeal. It is really a tough story to talk about. This is a shocking, mysterious and disturbing story about the disappearance of Chris Kremers and Lisanne Froon, who were two young tourists in Panama, which has puzzled examiners and shocked nations on both sides of the Atlantic. They were two Dutch students who disappeared on the 1st of April 2014 while hiking the El Pianista Trail in Panama. Chris Kremers, aged 21, and Lisanne Froon, aged 22, both grew up in Amersfoort, Utrecht in the Netherlands, and they were visiting Panama where they decided to go on a hike the day before they were scheduled to meet a guide for a tour, as they wanted to be adventurous and make the trip even more memorable. Now, only a few weeks prior to leaving for Panama, Froon had moved in with Kremers in a dormitory room in Amersfoort, and they worked together at a local cafe and restaurant. They had both saved up money for around 6 months and planned to go to Panama together on a special 6-week vacation, hoping to learn Spanish and to do something of significance for the locals, particularly volunteering with children, which was highly commendable. Now, the trip was also supposed to be a graduation present for Froon. Kremers and Froon arrived in Panama on the 15th of March 2014, and they successfully toured the country for around 2 weeks before arriving in Boquete, Chiriquí on the 29th of March to live with a local family for a month whilst volunteering with children, as they had set out to do and as part of their planning process. Now, Boquete, Panama is a picturesque and beautiful part of the world, surrounded by jungle and the cloud forests of the Talamanca Highlands. So on the 1st of April around 11 a.m, they went hiking near the clouded forests that surrounded the Baru volcano on the El Pianista Trail, not far from Boquete, a vibrant and amazing 3-mile stretch of trail. Now, some sources and subsequent accounts said they took with them a dog called Blue that belonged to the owners of a local restaurant, and other reports said they intended to walk around Boquete and that they had been seen having brunch with 2 young men before embarking on the trail. On that same day, the 1st of April, suspicions were heightened, and the owners of the restaurant became alarmed when their dog Blue returned home that night, tootling back on its own, but without Kremers and Froon with it. Now, Froon's parent also stopped receiving any text messages, which both women had been sending to their families on an almost daily basis. So things had already taken a turn for the worst, and yet there was much more to come and to be revealed. The girls had gone missing on the same night that they had set off on their hike, and something was definitely awry, and their parents could feel it. They could sense something was just not right. On the morning of the 2nd of April, the women missed an appointment with the local guide. And on the 6th of April, their parents arrived in Panama, along with police, dog units and detectives from the Netherlands, to conduct a full-scale search of the forests for 10 days, as there was simply no sign of the girls anywhere. The parents even offered a $30,000 reward for any information leading to the whereabouts of their daughters, Kremers and Froon. Something terrible had happened to the girls, and someone somewhere may have held information about their sudden and mysterious disappearance. After a 10-day search using dogs, helicopters and ground teams, they failed to turn up any leads, and the search parties continued, but the trail went cold as they had simply vanished into thin air. The jungle seemed to have won. Then, some 10 weeks later, on the 14th of June 2014, a local woman had found and handed in Froon's blue backpack, which she reported finding by a riverbank near her village of Alto Romero in the Bocas del Toro province. The backpack contained 2 pairs of sunglasses, $83 in cash, Froon's passport, a camera, water bottles, 2 bras and a bottle of the women's phones in decent condition. Now, the women's phones showed that around 6 hours into their hike on the Pianista Trail, someone had dialed the emergency numbers in Panama. The first distress call attempt was made by Kremers' phone at 4:39 p.m. Shortly after that, another attempt was made from Froon's phone at around 4:51 p.m. but none of the calls had got through due to the lack of reception in the area. And after that, and upon examination, none of the subsequent call attempts ever managed to get through too. Now, what were those distress calls all about? What was happening at that material time? Just what difficulties were the girls in that resulted in multiple distress calls, all to the authorities, over and over by the girls? The discovery of the backpack then led to new searches along the Kalubra River, and then after an extensive search, portions of their bodies were found a few months later, and the shocking discovery of the girls' remains and possessions had been found downstream from where the girls had been hiking. Creamer's denim shorts were then found on top of a rock on the opposite bank of the tributary, a few kilometres away from where Froon's backpack had been discovered. Then, in a shocking and morbid discovery, and close to where the backpack was discovered, a pelvis and a boot with a foot still inside, believed to belong to Froon, were found along with at least 33 widely scattered bones that were discovered along the same riverbank. DNA testing confirmed they belonged to Creamer's and Froon's bones still had some skin attached to them, while Creamer's bones appeared to have been bleached. It was later discovered upon further examination of the pictures that were found on Lisanne's camera that turned up in the remains, where the pictures go from usual nice pictures of landscapes and the girls posing with landmarks to more sinister and strange pictures of the darkness, and where many have thought that these were desperate attempts to use the flash of the camera to act as a signal for any potential rescuers. One of the pictures also included a photo of the back of Creamer's head with what possibly looked like blood by her temple. It was also further revealed that on the 4th of April, Froon's phone battery had become exhausted after 5 a.m, and the phone was then never used again. Creamer's phone would not make any more calls either, but was intermittently turned on to search for reception. Now, between the 5th of April and the 11th of April, her phone was turned on multiple times, but without ever entering the correct PIN code, and either no PIN or a wrong PIN code was entered. On the 11th of April, the phone was turned on at 10:51 a.m, but was turned off for the last time at 11:56 a.m, and was never used again. Although many theories have been presented as to what happened to Creamer's and Froon, no official cause of death has been ruled. But in saying that, the Panamanian authorities came under fire for allegedly mishandling the disappearance and the aftermath, and the further investigation into the case in 2017, and raised questions about the initial investigation, as well as a possible link to murders in that particular area. Now, despite all of this, their cause of death could still not be determined definitively, and Dutch authorities working with forensic and search rescue investigators initially thought it likely that the students had accidentally fallen from a cliff after becoming lost. The circumstances and the aftermath of their disappearance has resulted in much speculation about their final grisly days. Other theories revolved around the deaths of Creamer's and Froon being blamed on pygmy cannibals, cartel hitmen and organ traffickers, as well as more conventional explanations like kidnapping and rape that ended in tragic murder. Just the fact that no one knows what happened to these two during their time in the Panamanian jungle is what is most unsettling about this mystery, and it is incredulous that two young tourists could suddenly disappear and for their remains to be found in such grisly fashion is beyond comprehensible. This story is deeply upsetting and petrifying if you are ever thinking of hiking yourself in remote areas of our beautiful world. Now, this one will stay with me for a while, and I don't blame you for Googling this one even more after watching this video, as it is a sad end of two young and beautiful lives when these lovely girls had their whole life ahead of them and just everything to live for. Guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you for the next story. Cheers.